When I first started writing graffiti, I was painting trucks like crazy then. I see this truck in the distance, I'm like, oh, I think that's my truck. And it drives by and somebody had painted over the C, L, and A and just kind of left the W out. But then as it was driving, I was like, actually, there it is. I'm never gonna paint my name again. Okay, take 3, rolling speeding. I don't even know what to say. It's like designer, I'm this, I'm an author, I'm a mother, I'm this, it's too much. I'm born and raised in Fresh Meadows, New York. I moved to Long Island to go to junior high and high school. And that's where I sort of picked up my love of art and fashion. My grades were really bad, and the only school that would accept me was FIT, so I was like, I guess I'm gonna go into fashion. And that transition from Long Island to Manhattan totally blew my mind, and that's where I got into the world of graffiti. When I first moved to Manhattan, I started really dipping my toe hard into the pool of nightlife and all things that happened nocturnally. I started working in nightclubs and bars, hanging out, and there is where I met a few different graffiti artists. You'd leave the club at night, everyone would have a can. My nickname was Claw already. It was just destiny. I was meant to write graffiti. My name is Claw. And then I would say, pass me the can. And I remember there was a distinct hard no. And that's really what pushed me further into wanting to write graffiti. Fashion was always the priority. When I dropped out of FIT, because of course I was painting and going crazy, I started working in bars and nightclubs, and I started sort of making clothes. I never got out of fashion, and sort of through those outfits, people would approach me and say, where did you get that? Oh, I made it. Will you make me 3 for my store? And that sort of blossomed into a secondary career of me wheeling and dealing vintage, and then I got involved as a stylist, and then I became a fashion editor, and then a fashion director, all at the same time as when I sort of started my clothing line, which next year will be 20 years old. I can paint so many different styles of graffiti, from pieces to tags to throw-ups. My style is very bold and sort of in your face. When I was painting illegally, sometimes my stuff would be really messy and not the aesthetic, beautiful, neat claw you're used to seeing now. And I realized early on, when my friends started having children, that their toddlers could see a claw on a wall and not distinguish anything else. And then I knew I really had something, and that it was just very easily digestible by the brain. We learn through symbols. When I had a kid, my kid could not read, and he would say Dunkin' Donuts, Macy's, because he would just associate the logo, not the letters. And I really took the symbolism as the most important part of my work. When I was painting illegally and working, I was like Clark Kent and Superman. Claudia Gold did this, and Claude did that, and they just didn't interact at all. I kept my fashion stuff completely separate from my graffiti stuff, but then I started painting again after a 6-year absence, and people started approaching me like crazy. Make a claw t-shirt for my brand, let's do these claw Japanese jeans, and I was like, oh, maybe I should make a t-shirt. And here I am now. I think brands and big corporations started gravitating to me because they saw the vision was bigger than graffiti and bigger than fashion, that it was sort of about female assertion. So when they came a knockin', I was like, hey. So baseball has always been a weirdly important part of my life because I grew up with an uncle who was this insane Mets fan who had season tickets. We would go to baseball games with him, and my father would come home from the baseball games with us, and my mom would say, "So did they have fun?" And he said, "Well, Claudia would just turn around and just look at everybody." And I've not watched the game at all, but I had the best time. I was there for the snacks and the hats and the people watching. When I first got this job, I was thinking, oh God, I don't know anything about baseball, but everything about the appendages of baseball is so important. The jerseys and the hats as fashion statements. Baseball is just everywhere. I always remember getting baseball cards. Really, it was for the gum. Like, I'd be like, I don't want this. But to hang out with the boys, you had to be like, ooh, I got this one, I got 2 of these or something. I just remember baseball cards as being an important part of my guy friends growing up, and therefore leaking into my interests a little bit, but I wasn't obsessed with any baseball team except for the '86 Mets. I chose my players based off of their importance in New York, their importance in my life, and their importance in people in my life's importance. So, you know, my father loved Jackie Robinson and was like a Giants fan, and I did Ron Darling for my sister who was in love with him when she was in high school. All of them are like extremely personal. When Thurman Munson died, I remember it like yesterday that so many of my homeboys were just completely devastated. And I was devastated because they were devastated, but it was a big deal. But was I a fan of Thurman Munson? Not necessarily, but those events were really like important. So the way I look at the baseball cards is I kind of do a rough redraw of the template, and then I look at picture after picture, and it reminds me of when I was a fashion editor, and decide like what is my photo. Stick that in there and then start to customize it, and then I have to figure out how do I put my little claw isms onto this. You know, I really want to exalt the player and make the card look like an actual baseball card. I think people, they like to put me in a box. Oh, she does graffiti. Oh, she does fashion. I wanted to really just be like a graphic designer here. When I was first approaching the cards, I could draw on them, but I really wanted them to look like baseball cards. And I wanted them to look like baseball cards that women and girls would like. More like fun, bright colors and funny photos. So that was sort of my inspiration, like, what do girls want to see if they were to collect baseball cards? So hopefully, I don't know, maybe some girls like it. Being one of the only women in baseball cards, in graffiti, there is this weird tokenism thing that's going on with me, and while some may find it very like empowering to be in that position, I find that it's a lot of pressure because I'm carrying all this stuff with me into baseball cards, graffiti, business, whatever it is, that is mostly male dominated. And you have to sort of wear the hat of tokenism to make a difference. So sometimes I find it to be annoying. I also feel like I could put something special in there and sort of change people's minds a little bit. That's what I always have said about myself. Claw money, I make people change their minds. That wasn't an exciting story. I was like killing mosquitoes. Total fear of heights, and I just kept walking and being like, if I don't do this, everybody's gonna think I'm like a loser, because I was with all these people, they're just walking. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I would never do it again. I did it, and I wouldn't do it again.
What's up? It's King Saladin.
I'm Claw Money,
Hey, what's up? This is Seth.
I'm here with Topps.
and this is Project 70.
Meet the artist.
I'm really like a professional. I can do this.